What's up, guys? It's Emily back with another video. So today I am coming back with one of my favorite videos that I used to film on my channel. I haven't done this video in so long. So I'm bringing back my girl talks. I'm super excited to be bringing them back because these are one of my favorite things to watch and like one of my favorite things to film for you guys and be a big sister and just give you guys my advice and my perspective to things. So if you guys have any topics that you guys want me to cover for my girl talks, please comment down below or even direct message my Instagram. I'm always messaging back on my direct Instagram. So don't hesitate. Whatever the topic you guys want me to cover and give you guys my advice, I will definitely do that because these are one of my favorite videos to film. But we are going to be covering today in this girl talk toxic relationships. And basically, we are going to be talking about toxic relationships, toxic family, toxic friendship, whatever's toxic, like any type of dynamic of a relationship that is toxic. And also, we're going to be talking how to basically snap back after dealing with a toxic relationship and finding yourself and self-love. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I feel like everybody could relate to this somehow, some way. So I definitely want to do this girl talk so everybody could relate to it. So like I said, guys, please don't hesitate about giving me a topic in the comments because I will definitely film it for you guys. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this started. Ooh, I haven't done one of these videos in so long. I'm so excited to just talk instead of just like doing my makeup. I'm just excited to sit in front of the camera and talk to you guys and give you guys my advice. So, toxic relationships. Let me say I've had my fair share with toxic relationships in family, friends, and significant others. Toxic relationships is something that you have to deal with in doses, if that makes sense. And I know it's very hard to get rid of toxic people, especially depending on what their label is to you, whether they're a family member, whether they're your best friend, whether they're your grandparents, whether it's a significant other. It's very hard to just go back to normal after dealing with a cycle that you're kind of just used to. A new normalized cycle, let's say that. A new normalized cycle that you kind of got used to that's not so normal. But some people, when dealing with a toxic relationship, sometimes they don't realize what they're dealing with is a toxic relationship. Now, I could say I've had my fair share of toxic family members, toxic friendships, and relationships. I was younger, so I don't really count that because it was like it's something that just didn't bother me. So I feel like I dealt with my more fair share of toxic friendships and toxic family. Now, dealing with toxic relationships, you become very normalized with letting things go, letting things happen, letting things go all the time, and it becomes basically like a routine, and it becomes your new normal. Like with me, I've dealt with my fair share of friends, and I've let a lot of things slide with them where I was like, oh, maybe they'll change, or maybe this won't happen again, or they tell me they're going to change, or they tell me that this is not going to happen again, and then somehow it's like reversed into happening again, but in a different way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it makes sense. So I've dealt with my fair share when it comes to toxic friendships and toxic family members. And for so long, I tried to have such a big heart where I was like, I can't let this person go. I can't let this person go because these people I considered either my sisters or my best friends. like sisters as my best friends. That's what I mean. Like people that I looked at as family, you know, and it became to the point where I just started letting things happen the way it did and just forgave them all the time. And sometimes forgiving all the time, toxic people take advantage of that because they know how vulnerable you are. They know how big your heart is, and they know how to work your personality. They know how to pick at certain things when it comes to your personality. Now, when it comes to family, if you're a person that's dealing with toxic family members, now, I've dealt with my fair share of toxic family members, and not from my immediate family, thank God, because I feel like my immediate family, we're a bunch of crazies, but we're pretty, like, we talk to each other. We don't talk about each other, we talk to each other, you know, so that way it's not a he said, she said type of thing. When it comes to, like, extended family, that's where the toxicness comes from my side. So when dealing with toxic family members, it's very, very hard to say, okay, I'm dropping this person out of my life. Now, if you're a person that's, like, family oriented like me, it's very hard to let go of certain family members. Now, sometimes it's better off, but sometimes if you're a person like me, it's better off to basically put a big barrier between you two and keep your distance, keep your contact very like less, you know, like just don't be the one to reach out. Don't put the effort, because sometimes when you put the effort and you try to get that relationship back, and when you go back and you visit them or whatever the case is, it goes back to a toxic cycle somehow, some way. It just happens, and it's normal in a toxic person's world because they're so used to manipulating, like just trying to find every wrong in somebody else's life but not theirs. So when you're dealing with a toxic relationship, one of my advice is keep your distance, whether it's friendships, whether it's family, whether it's your significant other. Now, I can't speak too much on a toxic relationship because I have a pretty lovable fiance, and I just like was thinking, like, I was gonna say boyfriend, but my mind went to I was like, wait, he is my boyfriend, but he is also my fiance. I have such a lovable fiance. There's like no toxicness. Like, of course we have our arguments, but we talk like we communicate. That's what the problem is when you're dealing with toxic people. They do not like to communicate. They like to argue. They like to manipulate. They like to be narcissists. And and I'm really speaking from my own experience because I've dealt with my fair share. And I could say I've dealt with more toxic friendships than family, but I'm not going to sit here and say my family is not toxic either. But toxic friendships, I've let go of so much nonsense that shouldn't have been allowed because I have such a good heart, because they gave me this pity story of they don't feel right mentally, or they gave me this pity story like I changed, like, you know, it's been so long we haven't spoke, like I'm a different person. It doesn't matter. Once you take yourself out of that situation, keep yourself out of that situation. I've learned that the hard way, guys. I've learned that the hard way. It took me about 10 times until they did something, the worst thing. It took me 10 times till they did the worst thing to me for me to finally open my eyes and be like, this is enough. I dealt with my fair share when it came to toxicity, when it came to my friends. And I think it was also because I wanted to have a relationship with them. I wanted to have that sisterly bond. I wanted to have that friendship. You know, I think I was putting my I wasn't scared to be alone. I was more, how do I say this? I just wanted somebody, like, I just wanted somebody in my life that I could call my best friend, somebody that I could trust, somebody that I could call within a millisecond about whatever is going on in my life. I could call when there's a special moment going in my life. And honestly, guys, if they're toxic, they're not rooting for you. They're waiting for your downfall. They're probably talking behind your back. And like I said, guys, I learned that the hard way. I shouldn't have dealt with what I have dealt with. And, you know, that came to the point where they kind of like manipulated and was like, you're the bad guy. Towards the end of when I decided to finally cut them off, or I ended the friendship, they made me out to be the bad guy. When a toxic person does that, that is basically, what is that called? It's like a mirror reflection. They're basically, is it deflecting on themselves? I don't know how to word it, but it's basically like making you feel bad because of them being that I'm trying to like word it the best way I can, but basically they're like trying to manipulate you into thinking you're the bad person, or, you know, you're the bad guy because you're ending the friendship. And then it kind of like is, I think it's more of like a vulnerability thing, because you're ending the friendship. They think they still have, they still think they have to have the power, if that makes sense. So when it comes to toxic people, try to break those cycles. Try to, even if it's like family, try to limit your conversations. Try to limit your visitations. Try to limit just a lot of things when it comes to that, because having toxic relationships is not healthy for the mind. It's not healthy for you physically. And I've learned that because I dealt with a friendship that literally took over on me physically. And I felt like throwing up every day. I felt just bad about myself. I felt like the worst person because of the way what they said to me. And take care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and even go on your spiritual journey if you have to find yourself. Now, finding yourself after dealing with a toxic relationships is very, 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 very tricky. It's very tricky because one, you kind of sit there bluntly blaming yourself all the time. And I honestly, guys, you guys do not understand how much I could literally relate to that. And I literally sat through 2 friendships that I dropped. And I sat there and blamed myself. I blamed myself for one of the friendships for almost a whole year because I was trying to protect them. And I don't know exactly where I was going wrong, and I had to sit there and evaluate within myself that I wasn't wrong. And I was just trying to be a good friend, and I was trying to be that person for them. You know, because they claimed that there was it was just that pity story of my life is hard and this, that, and a third, you know. And then the second friendship that I dropped, it was just a lot of toxicness. It was, it just turned ugly. And I blamed myself for a very long time. And I was trying to find myself with dealing with 2 friendships that I had dropped within 2022. And finding yourself through toxic relationships, it takes a very long time. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, you're going to find yourself within overnight. No, that's not how it works. you have to go through the emotional part to it. You're going to have times where you're just going to randomly cry. You're going to have times where you're going to have to emotionally put yourself out. You're going to have times where even if you're a person that doesn't like to talk to anybody, because I'm that person, find somebody to talk to, somebody that you could trust. Like, the people that I trust the most is my sisters, my boyfriend, my mom, my family, basically, to talk to. But the people that I mostly talk to are, like, the girls in my life, which is my sisters, my mom, and my boyfriend. He's not a girl, but my significant other. These are the people that I trust the most. So, without judgment, and it took me a very long time to find myself and break myself out of the toxicities, because you kind of, like, when you're in a toxic friendship or you're like dealing with toxicness from anybody, you kind of get in that mindset, like, that they're still in your mind in a way, if that makes sense. You kind of think, like, certain things that they had said, like, you kind of portray yourself to think that that's what, like, you kind of believe what they said was true. So you kind of have to break out of that mindset of a new normal. Find yourself again, whether it's finding the hobbies that you used to love, doing new hobbies, going to the gym, hanging out, going into nature, whatever it is to help you have a breakthrough within yourself. That's the only way you're going to be able to break out of that mindset of toxicness. Because me as a person, I am a person that will blame myself till a bloody pulp. I think about all the things that I did wrong. I think about that, what if I literally evaluate with myself on my bed, and I like think and I think and I think. And now I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the most amazing friend. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the most amazing family member. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the most amazing person. I have my toxic traits, and I have learned and I've grown. I feel like I was more of a good person than a toxic person. I never, like, pushed my toxicness. I always, like, kind of ran when it came to, like, whether this person wanted me to talk about something with them and I just didn't feel comfortable talking to them about it, I would run and just, like, disappear until I was ready to come back, and for them just to not even ask me, because I think those were, like, the little things that were, like, toxic about me. So with finding yourself after dealing with toxicness, it takes time. And when you take out the toxicness, the toxic people, better things come. And I never believed that. Because every time I had a bad situation when it came to a toxic person, I felt like my life was, like, falling apart. Like, after everything that had happened with the two people that I lost out of my life, I felt like I was hexed. I felt a bad energy. I just felt bad vibes. I started doing egg cleanse. I started doing everything, and I was like, what is gonna happen? Where is my breakthrough? And I feel like my breakthrough was after my egg cleanse. After my egg cleanse, I got sick with COVID. And it doesn't sound like a breakthrough, but I feel like right at that moment, I was like, this egg cleanse, I got sick with COVID. And right after that, I was okay. I felt, for some reason, as bad as I felt being sick, mentally, I felt powerful after recovering. I felt in a happier mindset. I felt healthier. I don't know what it was. And the moment that I realized that my breakthrough was happening was the moment that Matt engaged to me. That was the most happiest moment for me. And that was when the moment I realized that good things do come after dealing with toxic situations. So sometimes you just gotta wait. You gotta be patient. You just gotta just keep waiting. I know there's gonna be like weird signs, whether it's angel numbers, whether it's just random people coming back into your life. And that will happen when you're dealing with toxic people. Let me tell you. They will text you. They will find ways to just signal you. Don't let it happen. They are out of your life now. And I could speak for that. I've let people back into my life several times. But don't let it happen, because it's just going to be a repeated cycle. And you want to break the cycle. You want new people coming in your life. You want new memories. You don't want to keep going through the same cycle twice, 3 times, 4 times. You do not want to keep going through the same cycle. Because if they didn't change the first time they said they were going to change, the second time they said they were going to change, the third time they said they were going to change, they're never going to change. They need to find themselves. They need to break that toxicness. And if you're in a better place in your life, don't let old flames or old things come back into your life when you're in a better place right now. That is my advice for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so proud of this video. I feel like it was very necessary. Like I said, guys, please let me know down in the comments what you guys want to hear, talk about. Let's talk about it. I hope I got my point across with this video, and I hope I gave the advice that you guys needed to hear. I'm really proud of this video. I'm really happy, and I cannot wait to get back into doing girl talks with you guys. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.